Would you consider, because that you, I know you sent me some links to read up on avant-garde cinema. One of them that you sent, one of the filmmakers I talked about was Lynch, who recently passed away. So like Eraserhead, for example, his first film, which is like so weird and so creepy, but yet has this sense of humor about it. But is sort of like this gothic. It's got like these gothic horror and surrealistic qualities, but yet all of these images are abstract. I mean, in my view, and so the audience has to interpret them in their own way. And I know he didn't even like to talk about his movies. Would you consider him someone that maybe not in the commercial world, but let's say even in the cinephile world would be familiar with in terms of abstract?
Oh, absolutely. The reason why I'm saying that is because to me, you have to also remember and put things in perspective. He comes from a painter background, right? And if you take a look at his paintings from the 70s till now, they're all very abstract. So, so that's one thing. Second thing is, to me, David Lynch is the most successful avant-garde filmmaker ever. You know, and I'm not saying that because he passed away. I've always said it because he was able to create a unique world and be successful at it, you know, because most avant-garde filmmakers can hardly survive, including me. So it's very difficult because, first of all, nobody cares. That's one. Very few people care. And the people who don't care is because they have already been professed eternal loyalty to Hollywood and to commercial films. Right. So, and the problem with that is what Luis Buñuel used to say, that in the end, Hollywood films can, to a degree, rape you, because it will only allow you to see what you've seen before.
Right. In one way.
And when you've seen something else, it's not, it's not the same effect, or you reject that idea, you know, and I think it's very difficult. Now, you have to also remember that what I find interesting about David Lynch is that he creates this Eraserhead in 1977, and then by 1980 he was doing The Elephant Man. With what's the name of this British actor?
John Hurt.
John Hurt.
And Anthony Hopkins as well.
And Anthony Hopkins, which is literally a Hollywood film. And then from then in 1980 he goes to 1984. Or 83, 84 with Dune. An unbelievable. So he goes, as you can see, periodically from very little to medium to huge, and all at the same time being extremely weird. In an America of the late 70s, early 80s, which was, coming from America in the late 70s means that they used to care for creativity more than what they do now, right? That's probably why Mel Brooks, was able to finance Eraserhead and was able to, I'm sure, to recommend this guy to the big leagues, you know, to do The Elephant Man.
Right. It's interesting because I saw Eraserhead almost 20 years ago, and when I was too young to really be able to get into something like that. Well, not to say that someone young maybe wouldn't, but at least I shouldn't just point to youth. It was just my taste at the time. But I watched it again, and even though I found it really creepy, but I was still really enjoying it. And what I appreciated was that, you know, he doesn't make anything easy, and he's not telling you, why is this baby an alien? You know, why are the parents of this guy's girlfriend acting so weird, and it's all so surreal, and so you have to sort of make up your own mind. And for me, I mean, I think he was getting at something about when you become a father that people don't like to talk about, or a parent in general, which is the sleep deprivation. You know, the mother and the father at each other's throats as a result of that, and other things. And then looking at this newborn who is this, what do you do with them? It seems like such a foreign object, like I'm responsible for this. And so it's so much more about a feeling. I guess to him it felt like like now he has a creature, right? Or now he has an alien and all the feelings that go with it, you know. I mean, in his case, you know, these feelings of wanting to die, wanting to throw the baby out the window, and people say those kind of things, right? You know, it's like, oh my God, the baby was crying all night, I wanted to throw him out the window, you know. No one would do that unless you're insane, you know. But he's getting at a feeling as opposed to necessary. I mean, yeah, there's a story, but it's more about getting to the feelings about a certain reality. I mean, was that your experience of that film?
To a degree, it is, but at the same time, looking back in retrospective, he was, and he would be forever be, for me at least, a surrealist. So everything is about dreams.
Yes.
Right. So if you take a look at the film, I mean, I watched Eraserhead when I was 19, and then I watched it again not too long ago, and it still holds for me.
Yeah.
You know, because he creates a mood of a temporal mood that you don't know when it was made, and so it's just a fascinating piece of contemporary art, in my opinion, right? But at the same time, I was watching or rewatching Blue Velvet for my podcast, and there are many shots that are done in 60 frames per second, right? Which means that it feels like a dream. It's slowed down completely, and it feels like you are in a dream. So yes, in that sense, he will be not only an avant-garde because he's ahead of his time and he's creator of a unique world, but that world is a world of dreams and violence and sex and all the things that are, you know, to a degree part of our psyche, if you want, you know.
What is so? It's interesting because he's, you know, very much connected to surrealism. Louis Buñuel, who you mentioned, is someone else people consider or say he's an avant-garde filmmaker. Would the connection with surrealism and avant-garde be because that's like an expression of a totally different way of doing something, which is away from anything conventional? Or is there a different connection between them? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, whoever wants to do something surreal at this stage of age, at least, or at least always, you have to have a lot of guts to create a world that is based on things that are oniric or that are based on ideas that are inspired by dreams, which it takes a lot of guts. So you have to have not only a very strong artistic value, but if you see. All his dreams were very disturbing, but when you hear the interviews, he's a lovely man.
Yeah, he totally is. Yeah,
right. But all his characters are despicable. You know,
yeah, I know.
Frank Booth and Isabella Rossellini and all these people are, well, Isabella Rossellini not so much, but Frank Booth and all these weird characters. Yes, yeah, and Kyle MacLachlan, who basically is, to a degree, this might sound controversial, but he's basically David Lynch.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's basically Blue Velvet. He's talking about, you know, his youth, you know, in Midwestern America, which it doesn't get more boring and more white and more, you know, vanilla than that.
Right.
And that's why it's so powerful that within that vanilla world, there's a world of depravation and perversion, which is fantastic. Right. You know?
Well, yeah, because I heard him say, because he was from that grew up in that kind of world and where everything looks so beautiful. But he said something like, but somewhere on a tree there's an apple rotting with worms coming out of it, and so there's always something lurking behind the doors, right? That is just disturbing to him or creepy.
Right, and well, two things for that is that if you take a look at the famous references on surrealism by Man Ray, there's I think one or two hands with a lot of ants, which is pretty much what he's saying about the worms in the apple and rotting and all that part, which is very surrealistic. And then the second thing is that he said many times that he found Philadelphia being one of the most disturbing places on earth, because there were a lot of factories and a lot of really weird places where things can happen. He actually has a series of photographs in Philadelphia of all these factories that are looking very eerie and disturbing in black and white.
I want to thank all of my members on Patreon. If you're interested in becoming a member of my Patreon, head over to the link, patreon.com/Robert Bellissimo at the movies for full details. You can also leave a donation, or what I call a tip, by clicking the thanks link, which you will find directly below the video frame. Just click on that and you can leave a donation if you choose to. Of course, I would greatly appreciate that. And lastly, if this is your first time here, please consider subscribing. It is absolutely free to do so. By pressing the Robert Bellissimo at the movie logo, you will see it floating above my head in the top left corner to your top left. In just a second, just click on that. And then click the bell in order to get a notification every time I release one of my new videos. I would also really appreciate if you leave a comment, share the video, like the video. All of these things create traction onto my YouTube channel and really help share the video far and wide, and the channel in general. So thank you so much for doing that, and I will see you all in the next one.